Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. This is day 28 of the 30 days of 30-minute workouts, and this one, being a Sunday morning, is being streamed live to YouTube, and then I'm coming back and making a re-edit of it after the fact, which is why I'm still in my tracky bottoms and my hoodie, because it's rather cold outside. So today's session is a freestyle. You get to pick how you want to row it, but if you want to row it the same way that I'm about to do it, then this is how it goes. So you're going to do 15 minutes at 20 strokes a minute, then 10 minutes at 24 strokes a minute, and then 5 minutes at 28 strokes a minute. Do you remember this one? This is a great row. It's up there with day 27's repeat as my favorite row of all 30. So pace-wise, you're going to do the 20 strokes a minute at around about 2k plus 18. Then you're going to go right up to 2k plus 12 for those 24s. And then when you get to the 28s, I want it to be right about 2k plus 5 pace or faster. And certainly when you get towards the end of that 5 minutes, I want you to go faster, okay? Now, I'm just going to sign off, and then they're going to be one of my little glitch edits, and then you're going to see me in my proper kind of rowing kit as we get into the warm-up. So I hope today's goes well. Make sure and leave me some kind of a comment, and apologies if there's any YouTube or Ergzone comments that you're like, I can't see any of that. So anyway, let's see how this one goes. Have a great day. Enjoy your row. Okay, so actually in the end, there was a bit of a technical glitch for starting the race this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the warm-up here, and then I'll cut to the race as I did it on YouTube, and then I'll just let that rather rambly outro play as it was, rather than re-recording the outro, because it all worked. It's just, yeah, I mean, you can hang along and watch the outro if you wish, but yeah. Anyway, right, so let's just do what I normally do. Okay, so 4-minute warm-up. Hey, go to your machine first and set up your drag factor. If you don't know about drag factor, please check out the video I have on my YouTube channel. I set mine to run about 120, 125 in case you want an idea of where I do it. Personally, I feel the higher you go, the more you're going to be grabbing with your arms to fight the weight of the machine. And so that's kind of also my guide for people who don't use a Concept 2, is to set it to a point where you get a good feel from the stroke, but you can keep your arms straight as you push with your legs. If you have to bend and fight against the weight of the machine, then the resistance or drag factor you're using is too high, okay? Next up, go to your monitor and set it to eye height, so you don't have to look up and you don't have to look down. And finally, if you're able to adjust the foot stretcher height, get it to a point where you can get to the front of the machine with your shins pointing vertically, okay? You don't want to go flying straight past that point, because then you overcompress and you have power leaks and you can hyperextend your back. But also, if you can't quite get there, there's a chance your feet are set too high, okay? So play around with it. If you have flexibility issues, then actually setting it a little bit lower might be okay for you until you can improve those flexibility issues. Who knows? Everyone's different. Longer shins play a difference and stuff as well. So we're going to do this warm-up at 18 strokes a minute, and what we're going to do is we're going to just think enough power that you can connect your feet to your hands, okay? I will explain as we start, because I've been waffling on so long, there's no point in me saying it now. Here we go then, warm-up in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So what I mean is that the power in the stroke comes from you pushing your feet into the machine. Okay, so your legs push your feet into the machine, and then that power travels up through your back and then down your arms into your hands, and then basically because you are bracing against the handle, that's what causes the power to go into the handle, into the chain, into the flywheel. But in order for that to happen, two things have to happen. First one is that you need to have straight arms, and you need to be leaning forwards to like a 1 o'clock position on the machine. Okay, so that helps the power get up and into the machine. But the other thing is to get the timing right of that foot press and your hands connecting to the handle. Okay, so if you push with your feet too soon, your backside will scoot away from you and you lose power. And if you pull too soon, then you get a big old jolt on the handle and you can't get that leg power in properly, and it certainly doesn't flow through your arms. So straight arms, forward lean, push and connect hands at the same time. And then you can start increasing pace closer to 2k plus 20. And 2k pace is you row a 2 kilometer time trial and divide the resulting time by 4 to give you your average 500 meter time. Then you set your monitor to show the /500 meter screen. That's your 500 meter split pace. And when I say 2k plus 20, you go 20 seconds slower than your 2K pace. Right, let's put one foot on the ground. Continue rowing. Now just watch when you're rowing with just one leg in that you don't overcompress. Because I've just been through the main row, I'm quite loose right now, and actually it means that I can come forwards, really overcompress if I wanted to. I can go wee. That's not the point. You just want to go 1 o'clock forwards, 11 o'clock backwards. Swap feet. So just 1 o'clock forwards, 11 backwards, thinking about keeping those shins at a nice vertical position. If you get the chance to put a mirror in front of you at a slight angle, it can really help. You can look at that to make sure you're hitting your body positions and shin position and stuff. One more here, and then we're going to put both feet back in, legs straight, and row with our back and arms. So swing over your back, pull in your arms, push out your arms, swing back over your back. Simple, but this is where you practice that 1 o'clock to 11 to 1 by just swinging over your hips rather than bending through your lower back. One more here, and then let's roll to the front of the machine, straight arms and forward lean, and just push out with your legs. Not too powerfully, because I want you to hold the straight arms and forward lean. Keep that position, that 1 o'clock lean, straight arms, and just get that sensation for pushing out with your legs and holding that pace right as you press out. Not pace, holding that position right as you press out. Right, I'm going to stop here. My monitor suddenly reset, so I'm hoping that was around about 4 minutes. Yeah, all right, so I'm now going to get into the main row. Like I said, there was a little bit of a technical issue, so when I'm talking about that for the first minute, please forgive me. But yeah, do enjoy it. It's a great row. I mean, if you do it the same way as me, the 15, 10, 5, oh man, it just takes you through the ringer. It's a fantastic row. Anyway, good luck with that, and I will see you on the other end. Well, I won't, because I'm doing this in reverse, but anyway, have a good row. Bye-bye. Okay, so 20 strokes a minute, 2K plus 18 to start for 15 minutes. This has been a little bit of a failure this morning due to my technology crashing out on me. But hey, I'm preparing to race. Sit ready. Attention. Go. Okay, so it doesn't matter that I'm doing this on my own and that I'm not actually racing anybody. I think what's happened is that my internet seemed to die on me, and quite generously Sam has just set up a single row for me to do on my own. You know what? That doesn't matter. I always row on my own. And I figure that you folks will come along, check out this video at a later date. So, right, we don't have to worry about talking about Ergzone and what you can see on screen, because all you can see on screen is me. The downside, of course, is that all we get is the on-screen live Ergzone info. So when it comes to repackaging this as part of the main 30 days of 30 minutes workouts, you're not going to get to see my metrics like my stroke rate and pace, which, you know, at first when I started making these videos, I didn't think anyone would care about, and I didn't want it to be about me, but certainly putting stroke rate on screen, in case you forget, is helpful. Right. Sorry, I'm wittering away that flustered start to today's row. Has got me a little bit off kilter. So let's get back into professional mode and talk about what we're doing today. So we're doing the first 15 minutes at 20 strokes a minute and 2k plus 18 pace, which is a really nice start to the row. Gets you properly warmed up if you had to rush a warm-up like I did. So that when we hit the 24 strokes a minute section, you'll be nice and loose and able to just push harder with the legs in order to increase your stroke rate and pace. But that's not to skip over this first 15 minutes though. 20 strokes a minute, 2k plus 18 pace is, you know, it's like turning on the TV and there's an episode of Friends playing. It's so familiar. You know exactly what's going to happen because you've been there before so many times. But it's still very enjoyable and gets you into a nice entertained state. I think my analogy is running out of steam now. I've heard it, I think it was Karen or Crystal described it about a year ago as these 20 strokes, 2k plus 18 rows, like that reliable friend that you go out with on a Friday or Saturday night. The one that will make sure you get home safe and sound. They may not be the ones dancing on the tables, but they're the ones looking out for you. And that's what these slower stroke rate, lower intensity rows are doing. They're looking out for you. They're giving you the chance to build up that foundation fitness. And by slowing it down, you can spend a little bit more of a focus on your technique too. And you know what I'm like when it comes to technique. What do you mean bore? That's rude. Hopefully not. I think the thing about technique is that it's really easy to develop bad habits, that you can spend time working on your stroke, but then it just takes a couple of sessions for you to do something just a little bit weird, and then suddenly that becomes your default habit stroke, because it's just how you feel it should be done, and you've kind of ground it into your subconscious as your new stroke. But the good news is you can undo it. It just takes a bit of time and concentration, with concentration being the big key thing there. It's like I've got, well, there's loads of things I need to work on my stroke, but my 3 focuses right now are the strange overlean that I'll tend to do at the front of the machine, where I'll get myself nicely set up. I'll be in the right forward lean, arms straight, but then right as I get into the catch, I'll suddenly go down a little bit more, come up, down. And so I'm trying to stop that, because what that causes is a small butt scoot where my backside starts moving from underneath me before I connect my legs and push them into the machine. And so that's potential leg power that I'm missing, but also it's messing with that hang off the handle, where you get into the right angle, push your feet into the machine, and because you've got straight arms and that forward lean, you hang off the handle in order for the power to get in there, rather than it feeling like you're pulling on the handle. So that's the thing at the front. If you feel that you're grabbing and you're pulling the handle back rather than just letting the force flow in from your legs, then not only are you missing that hang to get the leg power in, not only are you risking potential tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, or even just strained biceps and forearms, but you're also missing out on that good finish at the back of the stroke. If you've already used up half of your arm pull at the front, then you don't get that proper powerful finish. Elbows through your sides, squeezing a can between your shoulder blades. And the reason that I think that's really important is that the strong finish at the back, as your elbows go through, even if you have a small flare out of your elbows, rather than chicken wings where you come out, if you do that, then what I'm about to say doesn't count. If you get your elbows through with a slight flare out of your elbows, there's a natural spring rebound created by your rib cage and the muscles and ligaments through your body that want to send your arms forwards again. And the real trick to the recovery section of your row is getting your arms away nice and rhythmically, a good flow. So you're not coming back and then throwing them rigid like that. No, 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 no. You want to be pulling in and then releasing in the same rhythm, the same pace. So in, out, in, out. And that arms away triggers the forward lean back over your hips, so that by the time your hands are past your knees, you should be in the perfect body angle with straight arms, and therefore don't need to do anything else in terms of arms or back tilt, which, like I said, is one of my big issues. So do as I say, not as I do. But that hands away, fluid movement, and the rock over your hips without needing to tug your feet against the foot straps is a big factor in how you increase your stroke rate, or how you're able to row at higher rates. Which is quite apt, as being in just over 30 seconds we're going to increase to 24s, and we're also going 6 seconds faster. So this really does require a big push from your legs, a big increase in power. You ready? In, 2, 1. Here we go. 24s. So just push those legs harder. Keep your body angle leaning forwards as you come into the front. Arms straight. And then just push harder with the legs. And what you should find is that the hang off the handle will just feel like there's a little bit more tension to it. And because there's that added tension, it means that as you come in to that finish with your handle in to sternum height, you're finishing just that little bit more powerfully and faster. And remember, I said you want to mirror the pace that you pull in at with the pace you put your arms back out at. So a faster finish means a slightly faster recovery. And when you combine the two, the faster or more powerful leg drive gives you a faster drive speed in the stroke. And so when you combine a slightly faster drive speed and a slightly faster recovery, that's how your stroke rate increases. So it's about both halves of the stroke. It's not about a drive speed at the same pace and then faster recovery, nor is it about a much faster drive and the same recovery. Both sides get faster. I've spoken before about the 2-to-1 ratio at these kind of rates, where your drive speed is twice as fast as your recovery. And that's important, because what it means is that 2/3 of the time you're just recovering. It's only 1/3 of the time that you're actually putting in considerable effort. And then it becomes about how you do that recovery to minimize any extra energy that you might be wasting. So the arms away and the tilt over your hips creates the momentum to bring you forwards, so that once your hands are past your knees, all you have to do is bend your knees to recover. I'm not yanking my feet against the foot straps to do so. There's an element, for me anyway, as I get to 24 and above, where kind of subconsciously at the back of the stroke I'll lift my toes slightly against the foot strap to stop myself flying off the back, but it's more of a bad habit than it is me actually bracing against the straps. Ideally, when you get to the back of the stroke, point your toes towards the front of the machine, and that will then stop your feet flicking against the foot straps, and it'll also mean that you're putting in the full leg drive, as it's hard to point your toes to the front if your legs aren't all the way down. Whew. Okay, where are we? We have 3 minutes to go on this 24 strokes a minute interval. Intensity wise, this will probably be 7 or 8 out of 10 on the effort scale. You should be comfortable, but also feeling that you have to concentrate on getting the power in order to hold 2k plus 12 pace. So we started off the row in that bottom intensity row. Now we've definitely climbed into that mid intensity, and then in a minute and a half, as we crank the pace up again, you will start to climb towards that top max intensity. And I'll put my cards on the table now and say I'll have a choice between talking or holding pace. So let's see how I feel. All right, 30 seconds, 12 strokes. This 5 minutes will be over in a flash. 140 strokes is all it'll take. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Up to 28 and 2k plus 5 or faster. Remember, it's about a bigger push from your legs in order to get pace and stroke rate up there. And then as you go through this, you may find fatigue clawing at you. So that's when it's an idea to concentrate on technique. Your body positions, that swing over your back, the fast return of the handle in reflection of the fast finish. 3 minutes. posture to try not to slump in search of more power. You'll lose power and fitness if you do that. Come on. Two minutes to go. This should feel tough, but achievable. You will be at a good 9 or 10 on the effort scale, but with less than 90 seconds to go. The end is in sight, and you should be okay to finish. Here we go. Last minute. Have you got anything more from your legs? Keep your stroke rate at 28, but push harder with your feet. 30. Can you get to 2K pace for the last 10 seconds or better? 2 more. Last one. It's times like that this is the downside of rowing these live, because I'd quite like to lie on the ground right now and recover, but I have to keep talking to you. So looking at the final screen, it seems Sam and Matthew were both doing that on the bike erg rather than row. So I was on my own for the row, managed 7,567, which for, if it was a time trial, I'd be a little bit, that's not much. But because we started with that 15 minutes at 2K plus 18, that kind of evening off of pace. So I started off at 2:03 pace, so that's 2K plus 18, then 1:57 for the 24s, and then 1:50 for the 28s, or 1:50 and a half. And it all averaged out at 1:59, so I'm happy with that. And like I say, definitely because of that last 5 minutes, that took it up into a top tier. And especially, I mean, to be honest, it's the perfect top tier to have done after doing a mid tier yesterday, because it wasn't one where we were just beasting it from the start. Because we built into it, it's only the last 5 minutes. It means that it won't have taken its toll if we'd have just done a really hard mid and a really hard full on the whole time max workout. So actually, it was quite sensible I did it this way, in retrospect. Right, shall we get into a 2-minute cooldown? To start this, I'm going to do it 18 strokes a minute. You start whatever pace you want. I'm going to be around about 2k plus 20, then I'm going to gradually slow down. Okay, here we go then in 3, 2, 1, let's cool down. Oh. Now these cool downs are so important, especially after a session like today. It's really vital that you do something to cool down rather than just stop and let your muscles just, well, not seize, but there'll be deoxygenated blood in your muscles. There'll be lactate deposits, which Michael very kindly clarified for me, that lactate is the byproduct of burning glycogen to fuel your muscles, whereas lactating is what happens to women when milk escapes from their breasts when they're feeding. Or, yeah. So I'm allowed to say lactate. However, I do remember reading an article that was talking about lactic acid buildup, it being something that was tested for years. I mean, Julie, my wife, used to swim proper competitively, and they used to do lactic acid tests at the little ear prick to see just how much they've been working. And I think that's been debunked as actually not accurate. But then maybe it's still accurate enough. It might not be entirely tied into effort, but it might still be a good enough baseline. I'm not a science guy. Right, I'm done with the cool down. You don't have to be done, of course. You can carry on cooling down. Or you can climb off the machine and do some stretching, help those muscles to ease off. So I recommend stretching your hamstrings, your quads, your hip flexors, doing some supine twists for your spine. And then if you find you've got sore forearms from grabbing too early because you're not listening to me, then good one to do for that is, especially on a Sunday, this is a good one, is pray, but then push your hands together and bring them down. Okay, and push them into each other, and you'll feel under here stretches, especially kind of right there. So if you feel like you've got really kind of on fire forearms, then just do that, pushing into each other. Keep your hands together and push. Okay, because if you do that, it kind of, well, actually I still get stretched, but keep them together, you get a better stretch, and that'll stretch your forearms. But also do your shoulders and biceps and stuff as well. But there we go. So that was the last of the live rows for the 30 days of 30-minute workouts, and quite disappointed that it completely fell apart. So anyway, who we got? James Mundy. Thanks, John. Live rows are great. Then I made you some more. And then Al, first live row for me. It was a great session. I think that's what he says. It's always funny, like sometimes reading comments after a row, especially on RowPro, and you see just people type and snurfigen because they're so tired to get the fingers in there. It's always a chance that Al is like German or something, and so English isn't his first language, in which case I apologise for saying it was that. But I'm glad you both enjoyed them. So yeah, so as I was saying, this was the last within this month. I'll continue to do live rows. I don't know if I'll continue to do the Sunday morning one, because actually it's a little bit stressful getting up and setting up all the technology. I mean, I've got the camera running, I've got my MacBook running, I've got my iPad running, I've got my iPhone running. Like I said, I had the battery issue for the monitor I had to suddenly do, and you just, see first thing on a Sunday morning where you just want to lie in bed and watch Friends. And then you have to get up and do this. But that said, I do joke, because actually this is fantastic for setting me up for the rest of the day. I don't have to worry about when I'm going to try and squeeze in a row or anything, and then I can come back later on and I can do some weights because my body will have recovered by then. So actually it's a good thing to row in the morning. So anyway, who else? Tiger Dave. Hey, Tiger Dave. thanks for the inspiration, I assume. Yeah, good. I'm really pleased. I mean, I've spoken before about the difference between inspiration and motivation, so it's interesting that, oh no, he retracted his, oh, did you not enjoy it? Oh, he retracted his message. It's like, thanks for nothing is going to be the next one. I didn't mean inspiration. I said, thanks for just ruining my life. I hope that's not the case. But yeah, I've talked about the difference between inspiration and motivation. You can look at these guys like Eric Murray, the incredible New Zealand rower who does his sensei thing and whatever, and you look at his results. Or you look at anyone on the logbook and whatever, and you can see how fast these guys are rowing, and it's really inspiring to see that that's something that you can do on the machine. However, using that as motivation is a two-edged sword, because if I look at someone like, there's a guy, Timothy Mayle, who's pretty much the same age as me. I think he's maybe a couple of months younger than me. But because of his background and whatever, and on the water rowing or whatever, he's streaks ahead of me in terms of rowing. I was talked about him yesterday in the, talking about doing the British Championships in 2018, I think, when he won it and I came second. And we were all racing for second place. I did. Okay, cool. He did beat inspiration, so that's good. Sorry. He streaks ahead of us, and it's really inspiring to see just how good he could be. But if I try to match his pace, because I just don't have what he has. He has that, probably the zing that people have to be the best in the world at something. That's what Timothy has, and I just don't. So if I tried motivated to try and catch him, as I saw myself not getting there, it would end up being demotivating. But if I use him as inspiration to train harder, to try and get better, then you never know. I could catch him, or I could just get better and I'll be better than the next guy. So there's the motivation can be amazing. I mean, what I hope is that like these rows motivate you to get onto the machine, but it's not motivating you to be better than something. I hope you follow this. Whereas hopefully it's inspiring you to get better and to get faster and whatever, so you can try and get faster. So yeah, so there's a real difference here. And so yeah, that's all I'm kind of flanneling about. So I realize that there's still a few people watching this, and you're probably like, for crying out loud, John, can you just shut up so we feel a little bit like we have to carry on watching because we've kind of bought into it this morning. So could you please stop talking so we can get off the machine? So I'm going to, okay? Yeah, so thank you very much for rowing along. I apologize for the false start stuff and the dual stream and having to change batches and things. Not my best work. I will, of course, re-record the intro and outro to fix that for the live stream. Sorry, for the main thing. So yeah, so thank you very much for doing this with me. I'll work out what to do about future live rows, and I'll let you know about that. But yeah, day 28 is done. We've only got 2 days left of the 30 days of 30-minute rows. Tomorrow is going to be a bottom tier, lower intensity row, and then Tuesday is going to be, or day 30 is going to be a proper full-on great finish to this session. So yep, so if you want to post a comment on the YouTube or Facebook or wherever, and you want to leave a little hashtag to say you got this far through the video, then use the hashtag Ergrace, because I don't think we've done that yet, ERGRACE, just to say, hey, you got this far. But thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning with me. I really hope you look after yourselves. Have a great Sunday. Please stay safe, be well, and bye-bye.